Coming up on the DLLS Mavs pregame show, your Mavericks take on the Utah Jazz. What you need to know, who's in, who's out. We preview the game and all more coming up here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato and Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, at the Stein line. It is game night for your Dallas Mavericks as they complete their 3-game road trip in Salt Lake City tonight when they take on the Utah Jazz. We'll get you ready for the game over the next 30 minutes here. Who's in, who's out, X factors, and what you need to know as the Mavericks take on Utah. Appreciate y'all joining us in the chat. We see you in there already. Shout out to our guy, Kirk Henderson. Hello, gents.
Do not shout him out.
Also, I agree with Kirk.
I don't. Under no circumstances do you have to shout out Kirk Henderson.
I do have to shout out Kirk because Kirk is from Missouri like myself. So shout out to him. He's from the same area from me. So there you go. What's up, Ronald? We see you in the chat as well. Let's get to it, fellas. Mavericks 5-6 on the season, 1-3 away from the American Airlines Center, take on a Utah Jazz team that's 2-8. And guess what, gentlemen? Hasn't won a single game at home yet in Salt Lake City. Mavericks 8.5-point favorite tonight. Mavericks, of course, looking to get a win and salvage this road trip where they are 0-2 after losing to Denver and, of course, to the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday night. Under 500 for the first time this season. A Mavericks team that has lost their last 3 games by a combined 6 points, needing a win tonight. The Jazz, meanwhile, 2-2 in their last 4 games, coming off a loss on Tuesday against the Phoenix Suns, what was 120-112. As we start to look at tonight's game, gentlemen, the news coming from Jason Kidd before the game that Kyrie Irving with a shoulder strain will not be playing tonight for your Dallas Mavericks. Lukadoncic is available and good to go, but no Kyrie Irving. What does that mean, and who needs to step up for tonight for the Mavericks when we start looking at who is going to be playing for this
Well, it means it's contagious. It's that Derek Lively got him infected.
With the shoulder strain injuries?
I mean,
got it.
They got to be better there. You know, they got to do isolations. They got to. No, I mean it's fine. So Spencer Dinwiddie's in the starting 5.
We're gonna find out.
Not known yet. I'm refreshing everyone's favorite social media platform.
So we're about to know.
We're about to know. Get in your guesses. Who do you think it should be? Or who do you think it will be? Who do you think it will be? We'll talk about who we think it should be.
I think it will be Spencer Dinwiddie.
Okay.
I think, yeah, probably.
Me too.
There's not a lot of excitement on this particular
Actually, I think it's going to be Hardy. Because Hardy...
I admire the optimism.
So one thing that Jason Kidd does is that sometimes he likes keeping players in their roles. Spencer Dinwiddie right now is a bench player, a rotation player off the bench. Jaden Hardy is not. Quentin Grimes, weirdly enough, has not been. But I think after the previous game, after the last game, what do you mean?
We've got the starters for tonight's game.
Oh, my God.
Oh, look at this.
I used to pray for times like this.
Look at this. The starting lineup.
Wait, can I make a prediction? I think it's going to be Quentin Grimes.
Okay, really,
Wrong.
Tim?
Well, you're right, but also you're wrong.
Oh, my gosh. The starting lineup for your Dallas Mavericks tonight. Check this out.
Oh, my God.
Lukadoncic, Quentin Grimes, Derek Lively, Maxi Kleber, and Klay Thompson.
Oh, my God.
Against the Utah Jazz. Lukadoncic, Quentin Grimes.
Turn me the up.
Derek Lively, Maxi
I think
Kleber,
you actually said it that time.
No, I didn't.
and Klay Thompson. How about that wrinkle? It's funny because you and I, when we were going to get something before, the pregame show, we had like maybe Grimes in the starting lineup. What would that potentially look like with Najee Marshall in it? But Najee Marshall is going to be coming off the bench for the Mavericks, and insert Maxi Kleber, who has been active the last 2 games but hasn't played a minute. he's going to go from not playing at all to in the starting lineup against the Utah Jazz. What do we think about that?
So Maxey told us in the locker room after the Golden State game. He told me and Tim McMahon. He said he was very close. He was feeling good. He was very close. So Dallas, I think, thought he was ready to play the past couple games, but Maxey is also ready to play, and he's ready to go, and putting him right in the starting five. He's the most like replacement to PJ Washington. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it allows the rest of the rotation to be like the way that it normally would if Washington was healthy. So you're bringing Najee off the bench. He can play his usual minutes. I suspect between first game back and altitude, and he might pick up just some fouls just from being out of rhythm and everything. Like Maxey will probably only play the first 5 minutes or so of the quarter.
Yeah, he might play.
I want to like
overall.
I don't want to bury the lead here with Quentin Grimes starting and Maxey starting, but Derek Lively starting.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Am I like dreaming right now?
Because that was one of the things, ironically enough,
it's like the best day of my life,
that we were going to discuss in terms of, is it time for a lineup change? I don't think we saw this particular lineup coming.
I mean, do you guys remember what I said on a pregame show earlier this season? I said that I think the first time the Mavericks lose, Lively's going to be the starter.
Maybe you were very wrong.
Yeah, they lost a little bit.
Maybe I should have said the first time they lose multiple games in a row.
Also would have been wrong.
Well, he wasn't available.
That's true.
He was just coming back last game.
That's true. So I
wouldn't have said. I think the first time. That's kind of what I meant. That was spiritually what I meant. Was the first time they
got it.
The first time they go through a losing stretch where they need a change, where it's very clear that they just need to start their best players. Losing in one off game is a little bit different than losing 3 in a row now.
Yeah. And the nature of, I mean, they just got smacked. The starting lineup got smacked against Golden State. They went 22-14 in the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. They went 20-5 in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. So that's pretty nasty.
I like Sarah's
I posted
comment.
on whatever Twitter earlier today. Should the Mavs keep the same starting lineup against Utah? Well, sorry, I didn't post it. The DLLS Mavs social admin
It's
posted.
too late. It's out there.
And
it's too late.
96 brave souls voted. 57% said, let's make a change. And so I got to say, this is a victory for democracy. This is a victory for America. No, this is a victory for the world. So thank you, Jason Kidd.
At least for the Mavericks.
Thank you, Jason Kidd, for listening to the will of the people. But I mean, like, going back to last season, the Maxey Lively combo was very intriguing. Maxey is at this point in his career, you know, I don't want him switching off as much on the guards. I like him more as this sort of weak side roaming guy that can swoop in and contest shots. And I like Lively as a big that can step out on the perimeter a little bit. And so their games mesh really well. Whereas with Gafford, you know, Lively was getting beat off the dribble too against the Warriors. I don't want to like pick on Gafford too much, but Gafford I don't want on the perimeter, and Maxey I don't want on the perimeter. So Najee I do want on the perimeter. So it just fits. Both big man combinations fit together better. Unclear if the Mavs will win tonight. You know, we'll see. But this lineup, Lively, Maxey, Grimes, and who am I missing? Clay.
And Clay.
That's, I mean, probably your 4 best active defenders, not counting Najee. And Najee is a good fit with Gafford off the bench. So
yeah,
I like it, and hopefully it does well. And I think personnel-wise, it matched up well with Utah because, you know, you're probably going to have, I suspect, Lively chasing around Lowry and Maxey chasing around John Collins, maybe vice versa. But I like the versatility of this lineup on defense.
Yeah, I think. Oh my goodness! Sorry, guys. I'm very tired. I flew in today from California.
You're all good.
Najee Marshall. I think Najee Marshall has completed the most alley-oops to Gafford this season.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
The Utah starters will be Kyle Filipowski, Lauri Markkanen, and John Collins, Colin Sexton, and Keontae George. So that will be the starting 5 for the Utah Jazz. I love when games like this light the statistics that I worked so hard to research, lights them on fire, like this show is particularly doing right now. Because I was talking about, in particular, the lineup change. Did some research on cleaning the glass a little bit earlier today and looking at some of the looking at some of the lineups that the Mavericks have been putting out so far. And, you know, the Luka, Kyrie, Clay, Najee, Gafford lineup in 108 possessions this year was giving up 118.1 points per 100 possessions while scoring 117.6. So obviously, in terms of that lineup, a negative there. But at the same time, it's interesting now that they will have Lively in the lineup again. this was only if Najee Marshall was going to be in the starting lineup. Again, very small sample size, but the lineups of Luka, Clay, Najee Marshall, and Derek Lively, only 12 possessions, scoring 141.7 points per 100 possessions, and only allowing 100 points per 100. Again, very small sample size, but again, kind of speaking to the idea of the effect that Lively can have in a lineup. And, of course, he made his return on Tuesday, had 12 points, 8 rebounds. He will be inserted into the starting lineup tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. Offensively for the Utah Jazz, led by Lauri Markkanen, averaging nearly 17 points per game, but only shooting nearly...
That's it?
Yeah.
Only, that's a down year for him.
Yeah, and only shooting 39% from the field right now. John Collins, who, of course, has been a Mavericks killer over the years, averaging nearly 18 points per game while getting 8 rebounds and shooting 52% so far this year. So a really good season for him. And Colin Sexton, of course, averaging 16 points. Keontae George dishing out over 6 assists per contest while averaging 15 points.
Last season, Kevin, real quick, the Lively Maxey combo, only 186 minutes together, which isn't that much, but a lot of that was backloaded toward the end of the year. In 186 minutes, the Mavs had nearly a 131 offensive rating with those two on the floor.
Wow.
119 defensive rating. Not great, but both of that is kind of swayed a lot by three-point shooting. The Mavs are 48%, almost 49% from three in those minutes. Opponents were almost 46% from three. So with more realistic shooting, what it would bear out to is the Mavs probably like 118, 119 offensive rating, which is pretty good, and then probably like a 110 defensive rating, which is very good. So I'm super duper bullish on those guys as a duo. Probably will never see them start again as soon as PJ is healthy, but until PJ is healthy, I like them as a duo together.
It'd be funny if you did. Funny if that's just the starting duo.
Just from now on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask this question because it's burning in my head and I got to get it out. And there's experts on the set with me. Is Jason Kidd trolling us with this lineup?
No.
Okay.
No. Maxey is the most like-for-like replacement.
Derek Lively is your best. He's certainly the best player on the team that doesn't score 20
Not necessarily the Lively part, but the Grimes and Maxey Kleber part.
Maxey, I think, Maxey's a surprise. Depending on, maybe he might be on some minutes thing where maybe he plays first 6 minutes of the half and then doesn't play again. And then third quarter, same thing. So it could be that. Grimes this feels very old school. Coach says some stuff to you about you in the media, gives you a DNP, plays you a little bit, you do well, plays you a lot of it, you do really well, and then now is rewarding you. It's almost like all right, MF, like, let's see what you got. You know, and if Grimes has a really good game tonight, like, dude, we said it in the offseason, would not surprise me if Grimes ends up being the starter and someone who's had a very good career ends up coming off the bench. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, depending on how the season goes. But we'll see.
Certainly closing games.
If Grimes, if Grimes plays like crap tonight, then it might be right back to the doghouse. Like J Kidd in the November, J Kidd is built different.
No, really. That's why the question popped. I was like, we've seen him do bits, 15 players in a game, different starting lineups. And as one of our folks in the chat said, Grimes from the doghouse to the starter tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. So interesting lineup change there. Of course, the Mavericks playing in their second game of 3 matchups against the Utah Jazz this season. Of course, Dallas defeated Utah at the AAC back on October 28th in a 110-102 win for their second win of the season. Kyrie Irving, who was not playing tonight, led that game with 23 points. Klay Thompson had 18, while Derek Lively had 14 points and 3 blocks off the bench for Dallas. So the Mavericks looking to get a second win of the season against the Utah Jazz. Much more to come here on our DLLS Mavs pregame show as the Mavericks look to get a win on this road trip against the Utah Jazz with some lineup change wrinkles that we'll be monitoring as well. Who's in, who's out, and some X factors for tonight's game as well. We'll do that coming up here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Not podcast, but yeah, whatever. But you got to become a diehard member here first. alldlls.com/diehard. You can become a diehard member for just less than $7 a month. Member-only Discord. Premium content on our website as well. And you can join all of us here on our DLLS Sports family by going to alldlls.com/diehard. Isn't that right, gentlemen?
That is so right, Kevin. And you mentioned podcasts. Hey, we do podcasts here. We do podcasts. We have 5 shows per week. The Mavs have a lot of games, so we haven't been doing a lot of daytime podcasts. But the best way to find out when we're going live is to sub to the channel and click the little bell thingy to get sub now, or to get notified when we're live. Now, all that stuff is free. But if you want some premium stuff, you want to read Tim's articles about the team, you want to read articles about the Mavs, the Rangers, the Cowboys, the Stars. We got some other teams coming down the pipeline as well when their seasons get fired up. Then you go to alldls.com/diehard to click the link in the description. For less than $7 a month, you can read the entire site. You get a free shirt. You get to join the Discord server and hang out with us at all hours of the day and hang out with fellow diehards as well. So just go do that. Stop delaying. Just don't do that anymore.
DLLS.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. Get that physical diehard card as well. Show it off. Tag us on social media, and we'll shout you out here as well. As the Mavericks take on the Utah Jazz tonight in Salt Lake City, completing their 3-game road trip before they come back home to take on Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Crazy night last night in the association, by the way. Wemby goes off for 50. Giannis had 59 in a game as well. Just a lot of epic performances in the association last night.
Is that going to happen tonight too?
Well, interesting enough, you mentioned that, Tim. There's only one game in the association tonight.
Wait, who's playing?
It's the Mavericks and the Jazz, the only game in the association tonight.
Oh, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, the entire NBA world can watch lukadoncic.
Outside of Luka and Lowry, who are the two players most likely to go for 50 in this game? It's got to be Clarkson,
Jordan
right?
Clarkson, probably.
Is it Clarkson and Colin Sexton, or is there a Mav that could do it? You think Clay could do it? Clay could maybe do it. Maybe do it. Grimes?
Quentin Grimes.
Dude, he's like, I'm you're starting me. It's time to show you what I can do.
Show off, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd probably be my vote. Probably be Jordan Clarkson, because he likes to kill the Mavs as well when he plays. It has a chance to play them. Who's in and who's out in terms of the injury report tonight? Walker Kessler, star center for Utah. He is out tonight. He is dealing with what is right hip bursitis, so he will not be playing tonight.
Does anyone know what that is?
I don't know.
Bursitis is like a fluid-filled bump, deep bruise
that's what it is.
Kind of thing, right? Yeah,
But
you got to get
until you said that, I did not remember.
Yeah.
That sounds.
It's like
You
a
ever
deep
had
bone
one?
bruise, I think. I don't know. Okay. Quick story.
Okay.
It snowed and iced in 2010, early 2010. It was winter of my freshman year in college. And me and my friends, we built an igloo out in the field. It was awesome. It was actually really cool. But I had to go back to my apartment real quick to like get another coat or whatever. And I couldn't see the sidewalk because it was covered in snow. And I slipped walking up a hill getting to the apartment. And when I landed, my knee hit the corner of an elevated stair of the thing. And it swelled to the size. It was really extremely painful and swelled a lot. I think I might have had some bursitis, or I cracked my kneecap. I don't know. It hurt so bad.
Well, I did something similar on ice in college, although not the same storm. We were. If it was your freshman year in college, I would have still been in high school. Yeah, except I fell on my nose. So.
Oh, jeez.
That's actually a little crooked. At some point, I might need to look into
an inflamed bursa sac.
That sounds
a tiny bit.
All of it sounds painful.
Any sort of sac
nose.
getting inflamed is. I'm not into that.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
Colin
if you got a
Christian
sack, don't
Pulisic in the
inflame
World Cup.
What's wrong?
You know,
guys.
similar to that. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
By the way, Colin Sexton, he is available.
Exum has had bursitis last season. Did he?
No, I don't think
Who's
he had
to say?
bursitis. Who knows? Colin Sexton, he's got a broken finger, but he's going to play tonight for the Utah Jazz.
Colin Sexton has a broken finger?
He does.
All right, smack the ball. Hands part of the ball. That's line 1 of the scouting report.
Well, is it broken or does it have bursitis?
The injury report says it's broken.
That's
okay. Well, maybe it has.
painful.
Maybe it,
Catching an NBA pass with the broken fingers.
That sounds.
Oh my god! And I was holding an NBA basketball the other day at shoot around 2 days ago. Well, so they had like the NBA Cup. They had like the special designs, and we were all kind of looking at it at shoot around. Oh my god, those things are so different than like just an evolution.
Yeah.
You know, a Wilson
they're
evolution.
very different.
Oh my goodness, they're so hard.
Yeah, they really
I don't
are.
get it. You know,
really
it's like
are.
it does. There's no like rubbery feeling at all to them.
No,
There's no softness. It is a very, very.
it's like and the grip like is sharp. You catch a pass, it's like really thrown crisply. It'll like.
Yeah, it can cut up your hand. I mean, that's why
I got
they
city
all,
slicker hands, man.
That's why
these hands are not made for
He's like, these
catching
hands have not
basketball.
gone through anything.
They all use this like kind of like putty or this clay, and they all rub it. If you see, I know Maxey for sure always is using it. A bunch of players on the team, but it's a little thing that looks. It's a green cylinder that sits on the scorer's table, and when you see players walking to check in, you see them stop by there and they turn, and you know, then they're like that. Like that is them putting this putty on so that they don't like cut their hands open. When
It's like rock climbing or
yeah,
bouldering.
it's a lot like that. So you know, like I can palm a basketball. I can palm an evolution. I cannot even get close to doing that with an NBA ball. That's how different the consistency is. Can't palm it that well, but I can palm it. I can do a little bit of this.
That's the video for that, Terry. You're welcome.
It's useful when like you're going up for a one-handed layup and like just having a little bit more grip on it to trust it.
A little English on there too.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, I got a good layup package.
I bet you do.
I do.
I want to see it one day. Dante Exum remains out, of course, with his right wrist injury. PJ Washington is going to miss his 5th straight game with his knee injury as well. Lukadoncic dealing with what is now a right knee contusion. So the groin strain is no longer, but now it's a knee contusion that he's dealing with in his right knee. As we mentioned earlier, Kyrie Irving is out with his right shoulder strain, which gets us to Bobby Carella's scouting report on tonight's game as the Mavericks take on the Utah Jazz.
Big, tall absence for the Jazz tonight. No Walker Kessler, who's kind of their premier rim protector. I would say he's not as far along in his development as Derek Lively, but he's a really, really good young big man. And the Mavs have had a lot of success around the rim, even with him healthy against the Jazz over the last season or so. So I would expect Dallas to be trying to get to the basket by all means necessary tonight. Now, Kyle Filipowski starting in his place. He did have 2 blocks in their last game against Phoenix. He's averaging 13 points a game in his last 2 games and is 3 for 6 from 3 in that time. And so between him and Lowry and all-time Mavs assassin John Collins, you've got to close out on these guys. Utah does not have the amount of shooting as the Warriors, obviously, but the Mavs are struggling to get out some of those shooters. Obviously, Steph is going to do some zany things to you, but Lowry can fly off screens and shoot very quickly, sort of in the same way. So you have to be prepared. You have to be able to communicate on those screens. You have to be able to talk. There's no ducking big man underneath to cut to the rim and throw it down the way that Kessler can, but you still got to take advantage of that. Now, what are they missing without Kessler? Couple big things. Long mid-range offensive rebound percentage. Utah grabs 42% of their missed long mid-range shots whenever Kessler's on the floor, less than 18% whenever he's off the floor. That is a huge difference. That's a big body going up and getting those. Corner 3 offensive rebound percentage, they get more than 31% of those with Kessler on. They get less than 23% with him off. So the Mavs should hopefully have an easier time rebounding the ball tonight. Maybe, hopefully, for once, for God's sake, please. Finally, corner 3 defensive rebound percentage. We know the Mavs love shooting corner 3s. They get 72% of those with Kessler on, only 61% of those with Kessler off. So not only are they going to be lacking rim protection, but they're also going to be lacking rebounding. And I know every Mavs fan has rebounding at the top of their mind lately. So that is a big thing to keep an eye on tonight.
Which is a perfect segue to our X factors for tonight's game, because the first one that I had is, can the Mavericks dominate the paint tonight? Obviously, with no Walker Kessler there, who had 11 rebounds and 2 blocks in their first meeting. The Mavericks scored 60 of their 110 points in the paint in their first meeting against Utah, where Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford combined for 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 blocks. A big opportunity for those gentlemen to really be able to take advantage of the lack of paint presence that the Utah Jazz will have tonight without Walker Kessler in the middle. And, of course, Derek Lively back now and in the starting lineup for the Mavericks tonight. So looking forward to that.
A couple things on that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing on that, you might be saying the same thing. Utah dropped a lot last year against the Mavs. They did not drop hardly at all whenever they played them the first time. They also didn't blitz Luka. They were kind of playing at the level. They also switched a little bit. Utah does not, their starting lineup, does not have switching capabilities against Luka. Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Filipowski, Lowry, even John Collins. Luka will love taking all those guys one-on-one. I wonder if for that reason they might blitz Luka a little bit and say, can Quentin Grimes and Maxey beat us? I just wonder. So that's what I'll be paying attention to the first 5 minutes.
That checks out to me. No, I was just going to give an X factor.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So you just went for the strategic, the ball knowers segment. My X factor for the team is effort, because they keep saying effort has to be better. The 3 straight wins, you have to go win tonight. Somebody asked like how bad. Sergeant Crunch.
Yeah.
Dang, how intense will it get if they lose tonight?
You don't want to know, buddy.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Intense. And when you lose 3 straight games, I don't care that it's by 6 points. I'm not freaking. As observer of this team, I'm not freaking out about their chances, what they're going to do the rest of the season, just because they lost those 3 games in the manner that they did. You got to go win tonight.
Yeah.
And especially when you're saying that the effort has not been good enough, you got to go win tonight. You got to go do it. There's no excuses. There is nothing that you can say after this game, if you lose, that justifies what happened in this game.
And you want to know, like, one similarity between the Mavs and the Jazz? neither of them have beaten a good team yet this season.
It's true.
Mavs have beaten the Wolves at Minnesota. That's a really good win, but the Wolves'
That's not a
record,
good team.
the Wolves' record is not very good right now. Utah has beaten below 500 teams twice. The Mavs are currently below 500. So like they are around. These two teams are next to each other in the standings. Like we have very high aspirations for this team and expectations for this team. Right now, they're hanging out with Utah at the bottom of the standings. So ain't nothing guaranteed. You got to go take that thing if you want to win.
Yeah, and generally, let's say, look, Kyrie has got hurt in November and December before, and what seemed like, oh, well, he's just out. He's got a little injury. Has turned into like a multi-week thing. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I sure hope it doesn't happen. I like watching Kyrie Irving play basketball.
Me too.
And kids say he doesn't know when Kyrie's going to be back.
I don't like that, Kevin, one bit.
Just additional context.
If Kyrie is out for, I'm not hoping or predict. I hate even saying this, but let's say he's out for 3 weeks. Over that 3-week stretch, I'm going to give them a little bit more grace. Tonight, I'm not. I don't care that Kyrie's out.
Sure.
You just lost 3 straight games against contenders, and you said the effort wasn't good enough. You go win this game. This is a good enough team to beat the Utah Jazz. And they know they need to win tonight. They can go win this game. They should go win this game. The grace given for missing Kyrie Irving will be given over a longer stretch. If that's how long he's out, it's not given tonight. Not when you've lost three in a row. Not in the way that you've lost them. Not with the way that you're talking about them.
Utah's gonna have a little extra motivation tonight. They finished up a quick 2-game homestand before they begin a 4-game road trip. So they are looking to try and get their first win at home this season, because right now
crazy.
They are 0-5 so far this season at home.
It's
in
really
Salt
bad
Lake
because
City.
they have a bit of a home field advantage.
They do. So they'll be looking to try and get that win tonight.
Mormons?
What?
Or something else?
Oh my gosh. First quarter energy. Tim started to touch on it when it comes to effort. And when it comes to this team, the Mavericks have been outscored on average by nearly 3 points in the first quarter so far this year. The Mavericks in their first meeting against Utah won the first quarter 27-19. A good start, Bobby, is something that we have been wanting to see from this team. You should be able to get off to a good start tonight against Utah.
If nothing else, a good defensive start. Mm-hmm. They're starting 3 guys that are above average defenders and a 4th in Clay, who I think has probably still proven himself to be above average. That's really good. So don't fall behind 22-14 in the first 6 minutes. If they fall behind 12-8 in the first 6 minutes, then I'll be kind of annoyed. But you cannot let Utah score 120 points. You just can't do it.
Yeah, the thing, and Tim, again, Min started to mention it, the emotional energy, and Jason Kidd mentioned it a little bit as well. The emotional energy that this team has expended on this road trip, particularly on Tuesday. You're playing against a Utah Jazz team, again, looking for their first home win of the season. Mavericks have been through an emotional week with Klay Thompson's return to Golden State on Tuesday. What a fantastic game that was. You come up on the short end of that. You've got to be the team that aggressively brings that energy. Otherwise, you could find yourself on the business. And even against a team in Utah who isn't very good at all, they will be the team that will look to try to bring that energy early on in this game to try to get that crowd into this basketball game. So the Mavericks got a task to make sure that they take the crowd out of it early on in this game. You can watch this game on NBA TV and also on KFAA channel 29 as well if you're going to be watching the game. Tip off at 8 p.m. You guys ready for some Mavericks basketball?
I think so.
All right.
We're ready to go.
Let's do it. We'll be back here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show 15 minutes after the final buzzer. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports so you can get notified when we go live again 15 minutes after the final buzzer as the Utah Jazz host your Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks looking to break that 3-game slide tonight in Utah. Appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. For Bobby Corella, Tim Cato, I'm Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you after the game here on DLLS Mavs. We'll see you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.